And a very warm welcome back to Taipei. Not particularly warm here, has to be said, but the rain has stopped, which is great. You join us at the Taipei Games Centre here in downtown Taipei. We're right underneath the 101. You might have seen the great building. Was once upon a time the largest, tallest building in the world. And we're nicely snuggled inside for more StarCraft 2 action. The final game of Group A is about to begin, so we'll get the words and the wisdom from our fellow panel members. Welcome back to Maynard to the desk. How you doing?
I'm very well, mate.
Yeah.
I'm very charged up after a pretty nice lunch and a very good best of three. That was a pretty intense series.
Yeah, it was fun last map, wasn't it? Never really knew which building was going to get built last and which one was going to get destroyed. Although Hero said he was perfectly calm. Tom was standing behind him going, "Oh my God."
Well, he would have been the only perfectly calm person in that game.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Everyone watching would have been pretty intense for them. It was intense for me and Apollo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on to our last game. And it's a big one for both these players, HyuN and Polt. Interestingly, when we looked at their matchups, they go back 4 years with the matchups, 23-23. Now, I don't know many people that have played 46 official maps between them over the years, but these two have somehow. Nothing between them, and I don't know whether you feel that's maybe what we're going to get out of this match. They can't draw, so we can't put them both through, so that's unfortunate. So someone's going to be ahead after this one, but which is going to be the man that comes out ahead?
Without knowing that stat, I would have said it would be a pretty close game anyway.
Yeah.
Both Polt and HyuN kind of in the same boat, both from WCS America, both doing a lot of damage up there, but then sort of, not really doing a whole lot recently.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say. I mean, HyuN very aggressive, but Polt's so impressive lately. I mean, like with that last best of three that he played against Hero, it reignited my Team Polt, my hashtag Team Polt stuff that I used to get amongst.
Your Terran romance is back. Your Terran passion.
It kind of is.
Came back online.
Polt was just too good to ignore in that game.
Well, I want to hear from Todd, since we've seen a trend here where he's been cheering for the anti-Protoss.
Yeah.
We don't have Protoss players here.
You know what? It's actually, before you answer that, it's a good job we don't in this group for HyuN. Do you know what I just want to throw this one out. Do you know what his recent run of form against Protoss players is? Do you know what his win rate is?
I'm guessing you're about to tell me, as the esports historian that you are, Paul.
Statsman Paul.
Statman Paul. Yep. It's 11.1%.
Yeah, but across few games.
It's only his recent form, 11.1%. I don't know if another pro player has 11% win rate against any race.
Yeah,
so
you're looking at me. The joke is coming, right?
I wasn't going to say. Okay. I wasn't going to tease you with that.
I'll help you that one.
I think you'd be lucky to have it that high, personally. But.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, this guy, obviously, as you say, they have plenty of history. I remember a lot of nice games between them. Overall, I would say lifetime. Polt has probably been a lot more impressive against Zerg than HyuN has been against Terran, but HyuN is just such a good tournament player that he's always able to somehow overcome the difficulty that he has with the matchup. And, even going back to BlizzCon when he faced Innovation, he put up one hell of a fight. That one game on Nimbus, I couldn't believe he actually lost that. Like, he played pretty well overall. Not enough to beat the man Innovation, but I really think that here, if he's bringing his A game, he's going to have a good shot at beating Polt. But to me, Polt's going to be the favorite.
Okay. Susie, what do you think of their...
All right, I'm going to go with HyuN. Okay. Just to go out there, but only because
you have to pick one.
I have to pick one. No, it is true. They are very, very even. But I'm going to go with HyuN because he's coming off of a game playing against Hero, and a game like that. When you lose a game like that, I think it kind of gives you more fuel to make sure you win that next one. And so I think he's got new motivation, and we'll be able to see a pretty strong advance from him.
Like it, psychological. I like that one. Yeah, Maynard.
I'm actually going to go with HyuN as well. I feel like HyuN. I think it'll be an extremely close series. I think we'll see a very intense fight, but I'm feeling HyuN on this one.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
So we spent 5 minutes talking about restored passion for Terran, and then you go against the Terran captain. You can't go against Sir Polt of Terran. If you've just backed him up.
I'm pretty sure I just did.
It actually kind of bothered me that you said that your Terran flame was reignited.
Yeah.
It means it was out in the first place, which is unacceptable.
No, he said it was reignited. I just nodded along because it's red eye over there. You just nod and smile. Yeah.
Intimidation at the analysis desk.
And I'm not going into cricket either because we lost at that as well. So Maynard's got the upper hand there too.
You really don't have a whole lot to say about anything.
I've really got nothing to say at all right now.
I don't think anyone really has much to say about cricket, to be completely honest with you.
That's very true.
Bad game.
I think we're the only two people in like a 10, maybe a 100-mile radius.
I'm going to say that as well. No, oh yeah.
Maybe a 10,000-mile radius. Final prediction from you. What do you think?
I want the other ones to go first, then I know what to
They
We
already
predict.
already
did.
did. We just said Hyun.
Yeah, but I said Polt before. I thought we were getting a score
I know
prediction.
I know you're getting on a little bit, and you're getting on, older and what have you. But
They're
welcome.
coming from you.
This is the expert desk. We talked before the game, and we
Yes.
had predictions. These two have
Did
already
you
given
not
them.
hear when I say Polt was the favorite for me? I thought you were asking for a score prediction, Polt.
So you're going for Polt.
Yes, Polt.
So 2 for Hyun, 1 for Polt. I have to go for Polt as well, just to make it a bit more even.
All right,
And then
that's
it's 2-2.
split up a little.
2-2, 23,
23, and we're all good, right? We're all.
What's
we're
your
all synced
prediction?
up.
He
Polt.
just said Polt.
Is he
Literally
getting
just
No,
slower,
no, I
or
think
is
he
it
wants
me?
your
Literally.
score prediction.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you want a score prediction?
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh. It's got to be 2-1.
I
Has
agree.
to- I
I
think
agree.
it's
You
gonna
know,
be a
I'm gonna
close
go
game.
2-1 as well. Yeah.
Okay.
2-1?
2-1, but Hyun wins it.
2-0.
Big
It
block
was
shot.
obvious.
There's consternation here on the desk. We don't really know what we're doing at all. We're not experts in any way, shape, or form. So let's hand you over to 2 people that are, which is Kalaris and Apollo.
The final series of Group A is upon us, as unfortunately for one of them, they are out of the tournament, but one of them will advance on alongside Hero, who has already shown very, very strong form. But will it be Hero or Polt? That's the big question.
For me, it's definitely going to be HyuN winning this one. Absolutely. HyuN is a player who has really impressed me in this tournament. Compared to his games in 2014, he played well in 2014 and was very consistent at a certain level.
Yeah.
But that level was usually the top 16 and above. I think he got 16 top 16s last year, which is very good. But very few tournaments outside of WCS America did he go sky high. He did well in WCS America, but in other tournaments, he got picked off quite often by players who knew how to approach HyuN. HyuN's kind of, and I thought this was going to be the case, he's taken that Christmas break and has had that time to kind of readjust his play and change it, not just traveling from event to event to event and playing the same. He's actually had time to be at the CJ House, apparently, and he's changed up his games, especially as we saw versus Hero. It was close in some ways, even though it was a 2-0, and I'm actually expecting him to 2-0 Polt here.
I think the standout thing for me was in Game 2 in that previous series was how he was reading the situation. Because in the end, dealing with what Hero was throwing at him was always going to be very, very difficult. So he assessed the situation and knew that his best bet was going to be that base tradey kind of weird situation going all over the map and really causing a lot of chaos, which is something that HyuN has been able to do a lot in the past. But it looked good. It looked good. So despite actually, unfortunately, falling there. So yeah, I have to also go with HyuN as well, especially also considering on the other side of this matchup, you have a guy like Polt who fell to Hydra, fell to Kane in those WCS America qualifiers, where you normally expect Polt to do well.
Right, and yeah, Polt's been looking a little bit shaky recently, but it's hard to... The thing is, in StarCraft, you can look shaky one week and then look good the next. So coming into the tournament, everyone can be like, well, Polt's been looking shaky recently. But then if you look at his games that he's played today, then you're like, well, actually, he's not that bad. And you can start to turn it around and say that he's actually not doing too bad at all. So when it comes to that kind of form, I still favor HyuN, but Polt's not that far away. These players, though, they've known each other for a very long time. That doesn't necessarily tell them what they're going to do per strategy coming into this series. But we have a good understanding of how each other play. HyuN has got a very aggressive play. Lots of banelings, lots of roaches, mid-tier type of play, and that's really the favor of how to play Zerg versus Terran recently. 6 gases, pumping out the banelings and overwhelming your opponent. That is how the meta game right now favors Zerg against Terran. And it also favors HyuN's style. Another reason why I think he's going to be able to win this one. Polt, on the other hand, though, is quite an aggressive Terran player himself against Zergs. He doesn't like to usually grab a fast third command center. He likes to be able to go for a Viking early on, some type of drop, somewhere where he can micro units very early on and do a lot of damage, because that's kind of how he likes to play too. So both very aggressive styles, but when both aggressive styles match each other, have to be favoring HyuN.
Likewise, though, HyuN, you were mentioning it in 2014, aside from WCS America, didn't really get very far in these tournaments. I believe he has been in a few of the round of 16 groups throughout this season in the Intel Extreme Masters, but hasn't really gone any further. Is this going to be another round of 16 finish for a guy like HyuN, who you expect to be going further? I think this is a great opportunity for him to actually break that kind of position that he found himself in last year.
Yeah, the last time he got to a top 8 was in Shanghai 2013. The last time he reached a top 4 was the New York tournament back in 2013 where Life won. 2014 was a flop. He just didn't do anything in the Intel Extreme Masters. But 2015 is a new year, and one of the most important parts for HyuN coming into this new year, he doesn't play in Pro League because he's sponsored by Roccat. He hasn't qualified for GSL. He hasn't qualified for Star League. The 3 most important ways of, or not so much Pro League obviously, but the 3 most prestigious leagues in Korea, he doesn't play in because he hasn't qualified for. These are the ways that he has to earn points now because he doesn't play in WCS America or Europe. So these tournaments now are super important. No longer can he farm WCS America to get points to play at BlizzCon. These type of tournaments is where he needs to gather these points.
Yeah, especially considering he gained so many from last year's 2014 WCS America system. I mean, he placed first and then third and fourth, and fourth, was it?
Yes.
I believe?
Yes.
So that was a lot of points. He ended up second. He was first overall for the entirety of the year up until where Bomber actually won out at the very, very end. So that really shows how much weight that had behind it.
Yep.
And now it's an entirely different year, an entirely different system. You're right, it's a really big thing.
I mean, if he drops out now, I think he gets about 125 points, and that's it for the first couple of months of 2015 until the next big event comes along. He hasn't qualified for the World Championship in Katowice, so he's not going to go there to grab the points from that. He hasn't qualified for the first season of GSL and Star League, so he's got no points there. He has to wait till season 2. Skipping the entire season 1 of points, or a season of points, is huge. Very, very detrimental to actually get into BlizzCon at the end of the year. A big game here for HyuN.
All right, well, this best of 3 is now about to begin between Polt and HyuN to find out who is going to move on in second place in Group A, as we have Spawn down to the bottom left-hand corner. It is Polt, representing CM Storm. Looking good against Hero, but was pipped at the post. And then up to the top right-hand corner, we have HyuN, representing Roccat. And again, hipped at the post by Hero.
Yeah, and Hero rightfully claiming his first place position in this group, but comes down to who's going to grab second. This map doesn't really favor any Zerg versus Terran type of style. We don't see, okay, this is Expedition Lost, this is the type of match we're going to see. We should see a regular setup if they choose to play a normal macro game. Unless we could see some type of, you know, Roach Baneling bust because it's not that big of a map, some things like this, but nothing drastic when it comes to the 2 strategies they can choose from.
Yeah, it's not too bad a defensible ramp on the natural, at least. So you are able, as a Terran, to be able to wall off things nicely and try and hold down at the front. But you've always got to be considerate of the wide expanses of this map. It's very, very open in big sections as you traverse across it. So you've definitely got to be careful as a Terran once it gets to the later stages, especially if HyuN is on top of his creep spread, which sometimes he does let flop. He's not exactly known for immaculate creep spread, so that's something I'll have to look out for.
Something that's not been very common in the Korean StarCraft scene recently is Reaper expansions. They've actually become less and less out there because the Reaper doesn't really see anything that could change the pace of the game. We see a lot more command center first, or just skipping the Reaper in general and getting a faster reactor. Something that Polt is playing more of a European and American style right now.
Well, HyuN opting for Hatchery into Pool behind all of this. And again, as you mentioned before, at the very beginning of this, they undoubtedly know each other so well. They've played a lot. They've probably seen a lot of each other's games. They've probably had to study each other's games quite a lot because they have been in the same region so fiercely. So whether or not that will come into play, we'll see. Being on the new maps here, I'm very interested to see what both players are going to pull out because these maps are pretty different to what we've seen in the previous season.
HyuN is taking this gas here pretty fast after his spawning pool. Opens up the options to get that Zergling speed very early on, and also could push him towards some type of aggressive play. If he hadn't have taken this, it would have been very Queen heavy, very mineral heavy, and very economy focused. But this does give us maybe the possibility of seeing this type of Roach Baneling attack to win the game early.
And behind all of that, Polt is just grabbing himself a command center. 6 Lings are going to be out in just a bit to be able to fend off this Reaper, and then eventually buy the time for the Queens to be able to push that away. But at least HyuN has been able to spot that command center pretty early with the Overlord, so that's a nice pickup at least.
Yeah, he sees the command center. He knows that this is just a regular Reaper expansion. Hellions are the next choice of unit out for Polt to continue his harassment.
Yeah, that Reaper's just going to have to stick around this little ledge and dance around for a little bit as, again, buying time for the Queens to get out. That will shut down that pretty much. And with the faction behind this, Apollo, what are you expecting really from Polt to transition into forwards to put on a little bit more harassment?
Usually Polt likes to get a fast starport, to get a fast Viking out, to hide what he's up to, and then can choose from different types of aggressive pushes or just the regular third command center. But he does like to mask his play with that Viking.
Interestingly enough, HyuN's Overlord positioning isn't exactly what I was expecting of it. He didn't send his second Overlord aggressively over to the left-hand side to try and spot things out. It's only the one down towards the natural that is lurking. The other ones are positioned on the perimeter to keep him very, very defensive.
Yeah, so he's going to have a very difficult time finding out what Polt's doing, especially because Polt has chosen that starport, and a Viking is quite likely here. He's also got the second gas, so he is going to be doing some type of two-base play. Not rushing the third command center, not playing super economy focus. He is going to try to hurt HyuN in the early game.
Well, from there on out, Leia actually morphs in pretty quickly here. No Zergling speed even started during all of this. So what are the options that HyuN has from this position with just a little bit of gas extra being taken here?
Something that's very popular right now, especially on these new maps, is it's kind of hard to take a third base. Two-base Spire is, as they say, all the rage.
Very much so. Very much so. It's a scary thing to go up against as well if you're playing this kind of style that Polt does.
Yeah.
Actually going for Cloak to actually have a few Banshees to get in there.
But he hasn't chosen the two-base Spire here. Notice how he's used the Evolution Chamber to get a +1 attack and then thrown a Roach one quite shortly after the layer's begun. Roach speed, +1 attack. HyuN's sticking to his style, and we know he loves the Roaches, and we are going to see them in this game.
Yeah, so let's see what he's going to be able to do with this. If he actually uses this as, aggressively, if he's getting the layers just so he can get Roach speed very fast. Banshees are a great tool to be able to deal with that a little better if he's able to
Absolutely. The Reaper's slowing down the third from being built, which means he's hurting his production, and Banshees are awesome against Roaches, naturally, as long as he has at least more than one.
I'm surprised that Reaper actually went down there to that Queen. Very slow off the creep, but did manage to pick up the kill. So nicely done there by HyuN to get that, and even completing the wall off. So the Hellions won't have much room to do too much. It's very unlikely any drones are going to be killed at the third because it's not done for a little while.
The style that HyuN has chosen, very aggressive, very strong in the next 5 or so minutes, but it becomes weaker the longer the game goes. Polt has yet to identify what he's playing against. This is actually very important for this game.
Yeah, and the way the Banshees are actually assaulting now over at this third location, yes, they're doing quite good actually, of getting Queen already, gonna get some of these lings because he kind of forgoes the idea of speed, but the Roaches are now here, and the plans not fully revealed. Of course, the Roaches are here, and it's like very obvious that, you know, he's pushing away the Roaches, but there's going to be a lot of Roaches coming along soon.
Yeah, shortly. He saw Zerglings with no speed and quite a few Roaches out already. That may be a tip for him to start to prepare for this. He's already started Marauder production. Obviously very good against Roaches.
Yeah, so he should be able to hunker down very, very well back at home, as long as he's, you know, got a few bunkers, etc.
But he's got to slow the game down. There's no way he's taking a third command center anytime soon. He's got to be careful of an attack, careful that he gets attacked, and if he moves out into taking his third base, that's when he'll get swished in between the second and third.
Double engineering base wearing away now with that 1-1 production. It's just Roach, Roach, Roach. Opening up the supply lines as well, even more with Overlords.
Very low drone count and very high Roach count.
Yep, there's a bunker, but might even need a few more than that.
I don't think he's got enough defense.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. There's a tank on the way now, but is it too late, Sean?
I think it is. There's only 2 Marauders. He's going to have to pull SCVs. SCVs will be lost in this attack. There's so many of them.
Yeah, he's actually splitting up his Roaches as well. He's working on the back rocks, and if the bunkers and defense are all at the front, then this is going to be hard. But if he had a good force back behind this, then he could have established a good concave.
Well, he's going to have a tank in the middle of his base, which is going to be useful as long as he can protect it.
Yeah, he's going to have to chip away at the edges. Those 4 Roaches at the natural, though, working out very, very nicely to be able to push away at this. And even going to work on a command center whilst that's happening as well. One Marauder in that bunker helps out a lot and picks up.
Yeah, this is so far so good, but the tank has to be hunted down.
Yeah, it does. So there's a few more Roaches on the way, though. There's actually so many Roaches, 26 on the map right now. Also killing off workers in the natural. The tank has fallen, the Marauders are going to fall. Perfect play out by HyuN. Really, really catching Polt off guard.
Great strategy choice on a map that has 2 entrances to the second and main base of the Terran player. Polt was not prepared for this. he probably hasn't played against this either because they don't play in the same region, they don't play ladder, they don't play custom games together, and he was completely caught off guard.
There you go, GG. Game number 1 goes to HyuN. After really kind of doing what he does best, make roaches.
Make roaches off a very low drone count. If Polt knew exactly what was going on, because he didn't really know too much. The only time he saw roaches was on that third base, but you don't know how many roaches. Is that roaches just to push this back? Is it a full commitment to the later game? Is it a 1-1 timing? Is it a 2-2 timing with Hydralisks? There's so many different types that this play can go down.
Yeah.
Only when he saw the units in the middle of the map coming towards him, he knew exactly what was going on. But there was no way he could adjust his strategy and his build to what was going on. He had the third command center down. It's not like he can go, oh, I'm being attacked, let me add on barracks and build units really fast. It's impossible, it takes too long.
Yeah. All right, well, that does it for game number 1 here in the final series of Group A. Join us after the break when we'll have game number 2 between HyuN and Polt. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters, as we find ourselves now in game number 2 between HyuN and Polt. And HyuN dispatched of Polt very quickly in game 1 there with a lot of roaches, and unfortunately Polt just had nothing for it.
A strategy that Polt had not encountered yet, quite easy to tell there. New maps, not playing on the same server, not really knowing what to expect. He got really caught off guard, and he paid the price for it by dropping the first map. Loading into map number 2, it's going to be Inferno Pools, another new map, but it's a larger new map. So making these type of strategies that we saw there isn't going to be as easy.
All right, well, let's get into it then. Game number 2, as HyuN and Polt fight for that last spot in Group A. See who advances on with Hero, who's already made a stand here in the Intel Extreme Masters many a time. Did it once again. Who is going to join him, Polt or HyuN? As we have spawning over on the right-hand side is our blue Terran. It is Polt, representing CM Storm. And so far, on the ropes. And on the left-hand side of the map, it's our red Zerg representing Rockat. It is HyuN.
Here's a blast of the past of 3 years ago. I remember the very tournament and the very games, how it panned out that these two first traveled to an international event of.
Was it an MLG?
No. It was DreamHack Stockholm 2012, where Thorzane won. This was the event that they both traveled to together. Polt made it to the finals, losing versus Thorzane. And HyuN, I think, played to the top 8. I think he made top 8. And his play style and his play style stays true today. And it's so funny watching him way back then, because his play style comes from Brood War, because he's a very good Brood War player. And Brood War Zerg was very aggressive. Yep. Wave after wave, you know, mid-tier unit after mid-tier unit until you wear them down, and then you just power. And he played that style in StarCraft 2, and it was very heavy Zerglings, very heavy Banelings, and very heavy Roaches. Funny.
Oh wow!
And his biggest weakness back then is he wouldn't go higher tech. He wouldn't go to tier 3, which is the hive and the bigger units, and he lost the games in that tournament because he refused to go that high in the tech. So everybody played defensive, and eventually he died out.
Yeah.
Very similar today, how he plays. Loves his mid-game. He can go late game, though. That's how he changed as a player. He can go to the late game. But he just loves the mid-pot, the flooding of Zerg units. He's not the defensive type swarm host, sit around all day type of player. He loves to be in your face and putting the pressure on.
A lot of Zergs got stuck in that mentality actually for a long, long time, and even still you see it happen out. Actually, Hydra is a player that is here at the tournament that loves it as well, so we'll see some of that later on in the tournament. But for now, on Inferno Pools here, Sean, what do you make of this map in general and the spawning positions that we've ended up in as well?
I'll be completely honest with you, I really haven't played as many games on this as the other ones, simply because most people on the ladder veto it.
Yeah.
They don't want to play this map, so nobody ends up playing it a lot. And to be honest, it's the same for these two players, because I really doubt they would have practiced specifically this map coming into this tournament. So the limited experience I have on it is probably similar to theirs, is that it's just a very large map, and the spawning positions you don't want to get are the spawning positions that they're in, specifically for Polt. Because this is a great map if it's cross-position for Polt, because it's harder for HyuN to be aggressive. In these positions, if you just think back to earlier today with Hero versus Polt, Hero chose a very aggressive two-base play that was very successful versus Polt. HyuN can choose a similar style and also be very successful, because Polt, if he wants to go out and take his third, it is out in the open. Which means if he wants to do it at the regular time, he'll have minimal amounts of units, which HyuN can capitalize on.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, at least he does know the timings. He was checking down with the Marine down to the south of his main base to see if an Overlord was coming in.
Right.
So at least he was checking that, but unfortunately for him, it's not worked out. The Overlord's on the left.
Two big change-up of styles from both players here. Command Center first and Hatchery first here, but without gas. Polt is playing, by the looks of it, for a fast third command center off a single gas here. So very economy focused, naturally, with his fast command center before anything else. Whereas HyuN, on the other side of things, queen heavy. This opens up a huge amount of drones very early on and great creep spread, and the gases later on. But what he could do, which is very popular and a very streamlined way to go from this, is to double evolution chamber, roach upgrades.
Yeah.
Start the layer and the double evolution chamber and the roach warrant all at the same time, and then you start roach speed on 1-1. 1-1 started naturally just a little bit before, and everything times up beautifully for a 1-1 timing attack. Could be a very popular choice of strategy, knowing the map and the spawning positions and knowing HyuN's style.
And I think something that's really cool for HyuN regarding the spawning positions as well is the fact that he could actually push creep very close towards his opponent's base in the time that it takes to get this up and running. I mean, look how many creep spread tumors he's already got going in the middle. There's already 3 active at the front of his main base, so those can push very heavily forwards whilst he takes that third base just a little bit down to the left. And Polt is going to be up against it. I mean, how does he take a third base? It's very far away from him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very difficult to deal with the mid part of this game. A very difficult map and a difficult set of spawning positions. Very unfortunate for Polt, considering he's 1 map behind. But notice how the layer started and also the double evolution chamber. But the roach warrant isn't there, which means he isn't going to be hitting a roach timing because the roach warrant must start at the same time of the evolution chamber.
Well, still continuing on with that creep. HyuN's trying to poke away at it in between these 2 locations. Roach Warren actually does start up a little bit later during all of this. He may just use this for defensive purposes. It did complete the wall. He doesn't want those HyuNs running in, that's for sure. And for now, the third base is just going to get a little bit scratched.
Yeah, he's got no idea what Polt's up to. And Polt, realizing and identifying the difficulty of this map, has chosen to go for a 2-base type of timing. There is no third command center. Even though he was leaning towards that, he threw the starport down, and then he's added on additional production, making an army earlier on pretty much.
Yeah.
HyuN has chosen to go for attack upgrades for his roaches. Didn't quite time the roach warren identical to the lair, which means the roach speed's a little bit slower than it could have been, but he's pushed himself down that type of play. Roach heavy.
And just again getting that creep spread going as quickly as he can do. Polt's trademark Viking going to work on a few of these overlords and pushing those away at least, but even the queens are a little bit bold and actually drops a transfuse on one of those overlords to save it. So nicely done so far by HyuN.
Neither of them know what they're playing against. Polt doesn't know if this is a traditional Zergling Bailey Muta build or roaches. Neither does HyuN know that he's playing against a player who is without a third command center and is looking for a Hellbat, Marauder, Marine, Medivac, stim timing, then to fall back on his command center. Third command center, that is.
Very nice little choice against what he's going to be going up against. But that
Sees
really
roaches.
Ah, okay, saw them. That's very nice. If those hadn't have popped at that particular moment in time, it wouldn't have really given him too much information.
Though he doesn't start a Marauder immediately, which makes me believe that he may not have caught that specific roach popping out of the layer.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So he's got to be careful still. He may see some pushing out at the front, or even if he puts some pressure at the third. But at the same time,
Polt could be walking into a wall right now. There are so many roaches out. There's 13 with another 7 on the way. With roach speed and 1-1 attack, they'll I think they'll stop this quite easily.
Yeah, the Roaches have done a lot for him so far, and I don't imagine they won't continue. I mean, the main is a little bit susceptible here, and he won't actually see this drop in. So his Roaches are going to be out of position. Whilst the Hellbat push comes onto this third base, this could be good for Polt.
Yeah, this is a nice drop. Very nice. I expected him to go to the third, but he drops inside the main, catching HyuN out.
Yeah, a lot of Roaches are in production, but in production doesn't mean they're on the battlefield actually fighting. The Queen's trying to hold on in the main base. A Hellbat's on the third base, trying to kill off a few of these Roaches, shut those numbers down. If he brings the Marines down to the third base as well to help out, maybe he can do some damage, but all the Hellbats got cleaned up, so that was a great defense by HyuN.
A great defense for HyuN, and this sets up a beautiful counterattack if he just keeps on building Roaches. All he's got to do is kind of acknowledge that there are still these medivacs that could do damage, but if he splits up his army, leaves a few units behind, and then gets ready for a big attack shortly, Polt must start to be adding bunkers if I was him.
Yeah.
I'd be so worried about getting hit by Roaches in a minute.
He's got to keep him dancing somehow, some way with these medivacs, but how would you do that with such limited resources against, what was it, 33 Roaches?
That's a lot of Roaches.
It's ridiculous how
Polt
many
knows that he's weak. He's adding on a second bunker, he's adding on Widow Mines as well, and he just is sitting back and not taking the third base. But HyuN is kind of anticipating this a little bit. He isn't building a very fast army straight away. He's gone back to drones, and he's gone for higher tech, 2-2 and the Hydralisk Den. He's playing for the next part of the game, not for right now.
And I almost feel that that's an advantage for him. And look how many SCVs are really not doing a whole lot. I mean, he may be saturated completely on 2 of his bases anyway, but that's a little bit suspect. I mean, he could be bringing in a little bit more anyway. He's trying to claim the third base, and that third base is pretty open. You can't transition between the natural and the third base against a big Roach Hydra heavy play when he's so far up in supply.
Oh man, this is going to be very difficult for Polt. He's going to have to build multiple bunkers out on the low ground here.
Exactly.
Like 5-6 bunkers. He's got to have maybe 2 next to the turret in the Widow Mines, but he's also got to cover his third base because there's a way to come around that side as well.
Yeah.
A very difficult position, and I know that Polt's starting to know that this is happening because that wasn't attacked early enough, so he knows that HyuN sat back, droned up, has gone to 2-2.
Well, at least he'll be able to deny the gold base in the middle. If he dropped a scan and also got this creep, that would be very nice.
This is nice. It does slow down the attack. It's harder to reinforce when the creep isn't there.
And it also denies the idea of HyuN really being able to establish that gold base as easy as he would like.
Polt needs more time. I would almost say start dropping, even though as dangerous as it sounds for Hydralisk, do more and buy more time. Because he needs that second factory to finish, and he needs tank production. He needs extra Widow Mines, extra tanks, and he has to buy himself more time. If he can delay this push from happening, he not only climb up in supply, he get closer to maybe having 2-2 and closer to additional units that are better for his defense.
Yeah, the lineup now of the upgrades with 2-2 finishing up. If Hydra Speed was to have finished up at exactly the same time, then that could have been great. But with the Infestation Pit on the way and him establishing that 4th down to the left-hand side and Polt gathering momentum in the middle, I think he might be able to hold on for just a little bit here.
Just kind of baiting these units one way. He's got the drop on the other side as well. Very nice.
At last, some Widow Mines are there, but they haven't really gone off. One goes off, a second one, but it doesn't really do too much damage. He will get pushed away in the middle of the map, and he actually has to be careful, because if this pursuit continues on, there could be a lot of problems. He had all of his Widow Mines at the front, and they were killed off. Another one actually dies at the front. The second one hasn't gone off as well. And Roach Hydra with 2-2, powering forwards here against this Bioforce. Polt doesn't have enough right now.
Oh, man. Polt moved forward with his first attack. He lost 4 Widow Mines and a lot of units for free, and HyuN just bounced on the opportunity.
Yeah, those Hydras at the back are doing a lot here, especially that they are a little bit more strong than about a year back. It certainly helps out with this kind of Roach Hydra play that wasn't common for a long time, but HyuN incorporates it into his play oh so well, pushing this back at the drop as well.
Yeah.
At least the reinforcements won't be able to do too much. He's holding on, but he's taken a lot of damage.
He's taken so much damage, and it's almost game-ending damage at this point. This is very difficult to come back from, though he can still come back from it. There's no way it's instantly game over, but it's very difficult.
Yeah.
The numbers just say everything.
Yeah, he would have to buy a lot of time for 2-2 to finish up on this bio, and then even then the Roach Hydra numbers are going to keep swelling, swelling. That tank coming out can hold on to this location for a little bit potentially. The bio still needs to be able to buffer for it though. One Widow Mine goes off on this army. Second one does a little bit more splash damage, but the Roach is up to the north. Are they going to be able to kill off that tank? Very, very close to, I think.
Yeah, but HyuN is almost throwing units away. Just go kill the third and all the SCVs. He just wants to win right here, right now.
Very, very close, as the bio will actually be able to hold on for just a little bit longer, but that's a lot of Roaches that still power forwards. The tank actually ends up falling during all of that. The Widow Mines don't have charge, and HyuN is doing significant damage constantly, and he sent a few roaches down, I think, to that third base to do a little bit of eco.
He has a roach on the third base to suffocate the income from there while continuing forwards with his attack. Maybe overly aggressive, but he knows the longer this game goes, the weaker his strategy and weaker his units are.
Yeah.
And Polt is starting to push this back a little bit, but he did lose the tech lab on that factory, so he's going to have to rebuild that to get tanks out.
35 workers have died off at that third base as well, across the third base and the second base. So yes, he now realizes that was going on, but it was similar to the situation with Polt and Hero. Polt lost a load of workers down at that third base, wasn't reacting to it, and it's the same situation here again against HyuN.
Even though HyuN has been pushed back, he's really crippled Polt.
Yeah.
The difference in terms of income heavily now in favor of HyuN means that he is able to easily rebuild. Well, I guess there's still mules, so technically right now it's in favor of the Terran, but shortly it will obviously go in favor of HyuN once again, and he can rebuild, and he is going to push forwards.
22 Hydralisks out at this point. At least 2-2 finished up on this bio, so if he can catch small pockets of these units, he can contest. But once everything congeals together, this army is going to have a hard time. Look how many medevacs he has. He has personal medevacs for each one of these units, so at least they're a bit healthy, but he needs to bring this back to the tank line. Actually, a few Widowmines got some good hits off, but only really crippled the roach wall. The Hydralisks are still here and still doing some damage.
Yeah, 16 roaches on the way to back this up as well.
At least he'll kill off the rest of this, and cleaning that up and then pushing out into the middle is nice, but still, crippled economy. You've mentioned it already. The third base is not up, and even if he gets over there, there's a roach denying it.
HyuN needs to build up one army and then strike again hard. And the timing that he has to do this in is before 3-3 completes for Polt. Because if 3-3 completes and the tank count starts to rise, it will start to favor Polt again. Polt is making that type of comeback possible. But like I said, HyuN, gather everything together and just go straight through the middle and destroy everything. If he goes in with small units, he will get picked apart. Obviously, the Marine and Marauders are healing. They get healed. They can, the medevacs can get healed as well. It's got to play this smart.
And there wasn't really too much hindrance at all to HyuN's economy behind that. He didn't quite saturate the fourth base as fast as he would have liked to during all of this, but still, his economy is stronger than Polt's. Polt's third base is only now just getting back up and running, and once all these roaches and Hydralisks come out, he's going to be maxed out against maybe a 150 Polt.
Right.
That's tough. That's tough.
But 3-3. Only now a minute away from completing. There's Widow Mines in protection. There's also this medevac to help buy time. And Polt's in that same scenario again where ideally would like to buy himself a little bit more time. This is what this drop is for. Also, not just buying time. If he deals damage, that's great as well.
And has even found some room to actually start his upgrade on his siege tanks as well, so or even Widow Mines too. So this is buying time, this little push. We're seeing basically a maxed out HyuN. He would like to be hitting now.
Yeah, this is the time to hit.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, he's going to find himself in a very difficult position. He's trying to set up the hive for a follow-up to get Vipers to make this work again. But he has to attack now. 3-3 is so close, and Polt is rising in supply. Timing is running out for HyuN.
Pushing this small bio army back, but if this drop is able to draw any of those units back, it doesn't look like it is though. Transfuse went down on some of these queens, but the Roach Hydra army is still moving forward, not relenting at all. Gonna take down some of those Widow Mines. They did actually get a few good shots off, but it's only 1 or 2 siege tanks in this composition as a huge arc comes out here from HyuN to try and push this away from this middle ground between the natural and third base, and I think this is going to be able to do a lot of damage once again at the natural.
I can't believe how close and unfortunate that was for Polt not to have 3-3 in that fight. It completed seconds into the fight after he lost the majority of his forces. Very sad there for Polt.
I got the hive during all of that, but again, his economy is going to be shattered. He actually would have liked to have had a better concave set up on the low ground here as this Bioforce pushed down, but Polt somehow, some way did get down here, and he actually should be able to shut down a little bit of this, but the trade overall, there's roaches in the third base, shutting down extra economy. There's more roaches and more Hydralisks going to be in production to push forwards, and even though he gets a trade here, I don't know if he can continue this war of attrition, but this drop, if he's able to kill off lots of workers, maybe he can keep going.
It's time to go back to what it was before. Build up, and I can't believe a queen. A queen was the unit that picked up the medevac with the Marines. I can't believe it was the queen of all things there. But now it's time to do the same again. Sit back, build up, strike hard again. He's crippled Polt once again. He's lost the command center. He's lost a lot of SCVs. He's down in supply. It's going to be very hard to rebuild what he has, even though he's at the 3-3. HyuN hit at the right time. Take it slow, build up, strike again, and the next time he'll probably win the game.
I mean, even a scan to clear up this third base location is really valuable here to Polt. He would ideally like to be dropping even more mules there, getting as much money as possible. He needs to replenish up against a HyuN who, again, will be maxing out, where Polt is then at 100 supply. These like knock-on effects, every single engagement that come along are really, really brutal here for Polt to go up against this mid-game based army that HyuN loves so much.
Polt was so very close to making a proper comeback in this game and turning it around and maybe looking at a win here. But this position is it's the worst position he's been in throughout this entire 25-minute game now. He's so low on units, very low on economy, and HyuN is still, yes, he lost a little bit, but he did not lose as much as Polt when it came to the economy, and he's rebuilt much stronger once again. He's transferring drones to the gold base to even push his economy further than it already is. And he's looking for that 1 killable, and it's not far away now.
Yeah, and unlike previous situations, he can't really punish the gold base too much. If he goes anywhere onto creep and sacrifices even just a small bit of his bioforce here, he's gonna get waved over by these roaches, by these hydras. I mean, 11 more are popping, and that brings the count to about, like, what, 40 roaches and 21 hydralisks going up against this army?
Yeah.
Polt has really somehow got to bunker up home, somehow get the economy going, but such a difficult position.
Very, very difficult position, but he still has 3-3 versus 2-2. He spread his units out as thin as they will spread themselves, because he has to get the best possible fight to be able to win this game.
Well, takes an alright engagement to start off things here, but again, HyuN is just looking for an opportunity to pounce, and here we go, setting up the concave a little bit on that ramp. Pulls back for a second.
There's 4 Widowmines that can assist in this fight that he's going to bring. They would in a defensive position.
Has to have them. Has to have every single unit he can get here to be able to shut this down. And now the high ground has been seized here by HyuN, and he's actually going to walk up into the production. I mean, Polt can't delay. Polt can't let this just happen. He has to somehow save the production or anything, but as he ends up in this area of choke, I mean, how is the bio supposed to get all its damage out onto this force? It's going to be very, very difficult. The roaches and hydras trying to do something at the ramp, but at the same time, the bio can't really get a good location to be able to shut this down. HyuN now up 100 supply. It's going to be very difficult from here on out for any reinforcements to even engage or anything. This is a great trade here for HyuN, regardless of him being eventually shut down.
Yeah, so much of the Roach Hydra were attacking production, which means they weren't fighting in the actual fight. And if you looked at the damage output there for what they could have done towards what they did do, was very, very bad. But at the end of the day, he's hurt production, he's rebuilding again.
All right, making that command center burn down. Almost got it in the end as well. But yeah, he shut down a lot of production. He shut down a lot of the economy. Got a few SCVs once again during that small assault over to the third whilst being distracted in the main base. Polt, once again,
on the ropes the entire of the game. And HyuN is trying to escape with these roaches to rejoin them up. If Polt can use this opportunity to snipe that gold base, get rid of that gold base, and really hurt the income of HyuN, that could help him. Well, it will help him. I don't know why I said it could, it will.
Yeah, it will. It will, man. Those Widowmines actually got some good hits off, but there's nothing here to be able to deny these roaches. So it's do or die now. And unfortunately, it's more likely die than do, as the roaches and the hydras once again find this army on top of the creep and are going to chase it all the way back. And it's been a sad, slow death here for Polt, who has scrambled and scrambled and scrambled against the great aggression constantly throughout this game from HyuN.
And to be honest, as well as Polt's done, as good as HyuN has done, I have to highlight one of the most crucial things that HyuN's been doing is keeping his economy high. He cannot trade off like he's doing without this high economy, the gold base, this fourth base, keeping him alive, not taking damage versus these counter drops. If he didn't have that gold base, if he didn't have this new base, he wouldn't be able to always rebuild back up so high.
And now he's just sat in the middle of nowhere, really not doing too much, looking for an opportunity to try and do something at that base, but this small army will get shut down. He's basically using the mobility of these medevacs to try and keep him in the game, and they are for a little while, but at the same time as this damage is going on the right-hand side at the third base, he's getting absolutely destroyed. Again, still 100 supply up. Polt has fought valiantly to keep in this game with as little as he's had for so long. It's been the upgrades that have really tried to turn the tide, but even units on move command falling to this force, and HyuN will eventually be able to win out in this game.
Yeah, there's only one SCV remaining, and the command center that he can mine from is in the sky. HyuN needs to gather all his units together for a final fight. 45 roaches and 9 hydras. Well, the hydras are by themselves there, but either way, it is good enough. GG. And what a crazy game that was. Polt trying, but it's HyuN, the one that moves through in second place.
Yep. And again, a lot of us kind of thought that this was going to be the case. And the way HyuN plays out these kind of very strong mid games, unless you are so well versed and so good at being able to shut that down, what are you supposed to do? Polt got hit really hard in game number 1, really caught off guard. Game number 2, I think it was a bit more predictable as to what was going to be happening there, but even still, not able to hold through.
What put him in this position was, to be honest, his choice of strategy didn't line up well against what HyuN's was.
Okay.
He walked into a lot of roaches very early on, and the drops that he tried to do, the Hellbats did nothing at all.
No.
The drop inside the main base maybe picked off a couple of roaches, but was pushed back. And because you dedicate to these extra barracks and these units early on, you don't have that third command center up. You don't have the heightened production and economy that you'd get if you hadn't have done what he did. And there he was just playing it from a behind game because HyuN took no damage, was streamlined with his production, streamlined with his economy, and then his strategy just was perfect against Polt.
Very, very well done there. Very well done. He moves on in second place in Group A. So HyuN and Hero now make it through to the round of 8. And I think so far, actually, if you look beyond this group, I think the lineup that we have here is absolutely insane. Just the round of 8 that we're going to have, I mean, the round of 16 is really, really good, but the round of 8 that we're going to have is just mind-blowing.
Thinking about, the 4 players that we've had compete in Group A now we finished with Group A, the 2 best players advanced, in my opinion, this weekend. So if any of the other 2, if Polt or Sen had come through, it would have been an upset in my eyes. So the 2 better players have gone through, which is making the round of 8 the best it can possibly be so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It really is. In just a little bit, now moving on into the afternoon, we're going to have Group B coming up, which has got a lot of strong Protoss players along with Czech as well, with Rain Classic and Harstom obviously being there, one of the foreign hopes during all of this. But as things continue on, I'm looking forward to the rest of the summer.
There's going to be a lot more good games to come as well, and it's time to see if the only European can compete in Group B. We are just still waiting for HyuN. He's just kind of walking over from the stage now after talking a little bit with Polt. Very close friends, have been for a very, very long time as well. But I'm happy to see HyuN move on. I'm happy to see that his game has changed up too. I mean, his core is kind of similar, but he's playing much better than I've seen him do in a long time.
Definitely, definitely. It's basically his first round of 8 in the Intel Extreme Masters for quite a while. Yeah. And to be able to break out of that just group mentality and position in an Intel Extreme Masters when every single lineup we've had for a long time now has been really, really good. Yeah. That's a great start for him in 2015.
Yeah, it's his first top 8 in about 18 months now in the Intel Extreme Masters. So it's a good result for him, and especially considering not in Star League, not in GSL, not in WCS America or Europe. These type of tournaments are crucial to his success in 2015.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe in the round of 8 he can go even further and accrue some more WCS points whilst everything goes on throughout this tournament. But it's going to be a tough road because, again, we've already mentioned a very stacked lineup. So I think that pretty much does it for us here at the casting desk. Let's over to the winner. It's HyuN.
Yes, indeed. HyuN has joined us at the desk and is alongside Susie right now. Well done, HyuN. Good game. Well played.
Thank you.
Yeah. See, I know you're good. He's good English.
He doesn't need me. This guy.
He doesn't really. So
I can.
Were you worried about Polt? Were you thinking this might be a tough game? Because he didn't look that tough, really.
성훈이랑 붙을 거라고 알았을 때, 이거 힘들 거라고 생각했는지, 그냥 딱 게임 봤을 때는 너무 쉽게 이긴 것 같아서.
게임 내용은 좀 쉽게 이긴 것처럼 보였는데 저는 좀 나름대로 걱정을 많이 했어요. 왜냐면 성훈이랑은 만나기도 많이 만났는데 거의 반반 승률이 나와가지고.
맞아. 전에 그 얘기하고 있었거든.
네. 그래도 이겨야죠 뭐.
He was like, it may have looked easy in game, but he was really worried because he knows that he's played against Polt quite a few times, and they have such an even record that he really had to focus and get. I mean, he was like, I had to win this. I had to win this.
Were you aware that it was 23-23?
지금까지 둘 23대 23인 거 알아? 알고 있었어?
그 최근에는 제가 많이 이겨가지고 원래는 제가 밀리고 있었어요 많이. 최근에는 제가 많이 이겨가지고. 많이 따라온 것 같아요.
He said in the beginning he actually lost quite a bit to Polt, but just recently he's been on this win streak, so that's where he's at right now. He feels that he's doing better.
Right. Todd, I know you wanna get into the nitty gritty of the match.
Yeah, you're known as the Roach King. In the first map on Expedition Lost, you're on a map where there is basically rocks in the back of the base, so a backdoor entrance. Was it a no-brainer for you to just go for roaches and go for the kill with an all-in?
그 첫 경기에 로치 왕이라는 건 알고
네,
있지.
네.
본인이 그런 이제 별명이 있는데 그 엑스피디션 로스트 맵에 뒤에 돌이 있잖아. 그거를 그러니까 나는 당연히 로치를 해야 되겠다라는 생각이 있었는지.
그 뒤에 돌이 있어가지고 그 빌드를 한 거예요. 결과적으로는 맞죠.
그거 때문에 로치를 한 거였어.
네.
He was like, because of those rocks, he decided to go roaches. Yeah, it was a no-brainer.
So when the map was picked, you already knew he was
Yeah,
going to do
yeah.
that. Okay, second game, Inferno Pulse. A lot of Terrans have been doing very well with Marine drops in the main and Hellbat attacks at the front. Again, since you're the Roach guy, you had enough roaches to defend this quite easily. Do you ever have trouble with this kind of timing, where others seems to struggle a little bit?
다 알아들었어? 그러니까 보통 이제 테란이랑 붙으면은 테란들이 마린 그 드랍을 하고 앞으로는 헬벳이 들어오잖아. 그런 거 보통 저그들은 힘들게 받아들이는데 너는 너무 쉽게 그거를 방한 것 같다고.
그 두 번째 게임은 제가 좀 한번 찌르려고 바퀴를 준비를 하고 있었어요. 근데 이제 성훈이가 또 역으로 한번 또 찌르는 걸로 와가지고 저는 이제 제가 찌르려고 이제 병력을 뽑아놨던 건데 이제 맞고 나서 이제 제가 업에서 많이 앞서가지고 좀 천천히 하려고 했던 것 같아요.
Actually, he was going to try to poke a bit, and so he had prepared roaches just so that he could go ahead and try to attack him first. But then, Polt went ahead and came into his, so he kind of had it ready, and so they had that kind of give and take. But yeah, he was trying to plan for that first initial attack.
So it was situational, but regardless of that, I wonder if he has any problems at all with this kind of Marine Hellbat attack ever.
이번에는 뭐 그렇다 치고 하는데 보통 마린 헬베트가 들어왔을 때 그런 거에 대해서 문제점이 있는지?
두 번째 게임처럼 바퀴를 뽑으면 좀 쉽게 막을 텐데 만약에 바퀴가 없다면 무조건 맹독충이 필요한 것 같아요.
He said, usually, to block something like that, it's roaches. As long as I have roaches, I'm good. If I don't, then it's a little bit difficult. But
unless it's innovation.
이노베이션이면은 조금 힘들지 않을까? 로치가 있다, 바퀴가 있다 해도.
Hellbats.
그럴 수도 있죠.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well done, and good to see you in good form at the start of the year. Talk to me about last year. How do you feel about 2014? Because you did really well. You won good tournaments. You won lots of money. But then BlizzCon was very disappointing. So how do you view 2014?
2014년 보면은 결과적으로는 되게 잘했는데 블리즈컨 때는 조금 성적이 안 나왔잖아. 네가 보기에는 2014년은 어떻게 생각해?
굉장히 잘했던 해라고 생각을 하는데 우승도 많이 했고요. 근데 결과적으로 최고의 대회인 이제 블리즈컨에서 제가 개인적으로 그때 이제 기본기도 좀 떨어져 있었던 것 같고 컨디션 조절도 정말 못해가지고 그런 결과가 나왔는데 2015년에는 만약에 블리즈컨을 가면 컨디션 조절도 잘해가지고 좋은 성적 내고 싶어요.
I mean, he thinks that 2014 is a great year for him. He had a lot of wins, great tournaments. When he went to BlizzCon, he said his condition wasn't very good. Yeah. He is very disappointed in his play. Words hard. But in 2015, if he does make it to BlizzCon again, he said this time around, I'm really going to make it a point to take care of myself, and that my condition is good to get into this.
And more help for foreigners this year. More help. You're going to let someone win, right?
더 외국 애들도 이기게 해줄 거야? 도와줄 거야?
안 그래야죠.
No.
No, I realised that. He's already killed Snoot and he killed Sid.
왜냐면 제가 나이가 있어가지고 얼마 못해요.
He's like, I'm old now, so I only have a limited amount of chances. He's going to have to win it all.
You're still younger than Todd.
그래도
근데 군대가 있잖아요. 군대 문제가 있으니까.
But he's got army issues. He still hasn't gone to the Korean army yet.
Todd hasn't either.
얘도 군대 안 갔대.
All right, thank you very much. And we are going to take a very quick break now at the Intel Extreme Masters in Taipei. We hope you're enjoying the desk and the commentary, and of course the matches from Group A, which are all done and dusted. Yes, I did use that phrase again. We'll be back after the break when we kick off in Group B with Europe's Great Hope.